let's have another look at ways we might write paragraphs as we do with sources on another example. A reminder before we start, think very carefully about the criteria in criteria 2 and criteria 3. Remember, a standard A student and a standard B student both find opportunities to talk about the origin, purpose and perspective of sources. They spend quite a bit of time looking at developing a sense of chronology, putting events into the right order, saying what came before it, what came after it, trying to identify what remains the same and what's different over time, trying to identify key events, the actions of individuals or groups. They take their time to spell, use grammar correctly, to get their punctuation right. They write in third person. They structure their work. They proofread, they edit, they manage their time in the exam. So let's have a look at this task that's in your OneNote as a bit of exam practice and preparation. We've got to identify its origins, its context, its perspective, its purpose. So we go straight to try and identify the caption and anything with it. There's quite a bit with this one. We've got the author, the creator, the artist at the top, George Cruikshank. We know it's an etching, and hopefully we remember what that is. It was made in Britain in 1815, and we know that's 4 years after Waterloo, the end of Napoleon, the final defeat. It's given to us. European monarchies are trying to re-establish order. That's told to us, so we've quite a bit there. Caption is the radical arms. There's the caption here. And we've also got further information down here that explains it. So the teachers have been pretty good for us. It says this artwork's meant to represent a coat of arms, a bit like the Australian coat of arms. They've even given you one next to it. On the blade are 4 symbols: a tiger with paws dripping in blood, a shouting mannequin like a stored dummy. In red, white and blue, the colours of the revolution, I know that. There's a jester's hat, a fool's hat, a childish person's hat, and a knife. Maybe these are symbols of revolution because we put symbols on our crest. Not very flattering. Okay, below the blade of the guillotine is a globe, like the head, so the whole world is going to be chopped. The globe, there's a little S on it there at the top. South is usually at the bottom. East and west are on the wrong sides here, so perhaps this means the whole world is tipped on its head. I see what they're saying here about off-centre and topsy-turvy. There's a tricolour ribbon on the top, and it reads no God, no religion, no king, and no constitution running across the top. The man is meant to be starving, and the woman is meant to be drunk. Fair bit to be said there. Lot that we can get from the background, from the origins at the top. The perspectives and the purpose are becoming perhaps clear in my mind already. So let's think about how we might write this. I've put my paragraph in already shaded. Let's see if we can reverse it. As you read my paragraph, and hit pause if you need to, what I want you to think about is which parts of those shading do which job. Which bit is the origins? Have I telegraphed it? Which bit seems to be giving some context, talking about events that came before and came after? Which bits perhaps look at the purpose, why this artwork might have been created? Which bits are talking about the perspective of the artist? So hit pause if you like, and just scribble next to the work here and think, where's my origin? Where's context? Where's perspective? And where is the purpose? And see if you can match what I'll reveal in a moment. Welcome back. Let's have a look. Origin areas should be shaded in that light blue. So I've telegraphed the word origins in Britain 4 years after the final defeat. So I've given a time and a place as part of my origin. I've set context also in that opening line about 4 years after the final defeat, but then I go into it in a bit more detail. I've given some context to it. The perspective, there's quite a lot of perspective. It's a heavily biased cartoon. It's certainly making its point. We spent ages talking about all the imagery, the blood dripping. There's so much we could have said, but we do have to keep our answer fairly short. It's hostile to the radical ideas of the revolution. It depicts radical workers as ugly both in look and in spirit, in attitude. To Cruikshank, they're bloodthirsty, foolish, the fool's cap. They're murderous, the blood on the knives and so on. They're drunks, like the woman. Irreligious, think of the captions and the fact that they're standing on Bibles and there's bishops' mitres on the ground and crooks and crosses and chalices. They're irreligious and they're disrespectful to everything holy and right. There's crowns on the ground. They're trampling over documents and learning. They're setting loose tigers. The caption made a fair bit about tigers. Tigers into the world. And the tigers might represent violence, I think. The world is being tipped upside down, tipped on its head by these revolutionaries and is being threatened. And the guillotine is that threatening symbol of violence. All of this is perspective of the artist. The radicals again are being depicted, a perspective of the artist, as being opposed to everything that's good in the world, particularly Christianity and traditions of society. I've concluded then with why Cruikshank might have done that. Cruikshank seems to be both mocking the revolutionaries, mocking revolutionary ideas, while also trying to make his audience fearful of them. We want to not take the ideas seriously, but at the same time be scared. So, in a sense, Cruikshank is trying to build an opposition to the ideas of radical revolutionaries. So that is the purpose of the cartoon and the artwork, the etching, and it's come through, I think, fairly clearly in the answer.